Hey, what's going on, everyone? Dave Knittel here with another entrepreneur vlog for the first week in April 2018. Today is Wednesday, April 4th. So I'm going to give you a recap of the last week and how things are going with my different entrepreneurial projects. If you have any questions, if you're watching live, you can interact, send comments, let me know your thoughts. If you have questions for me or things you want me to talk about, I'd be happy to do that. If you're watching in the future and have a question for me, leave a comment on the video, or you can send me an email, dave@fanfutsal.com, or send me a tweet at dknits11 or the fanfutsal Twitter at fan_futsal. I'd be happy to address any comments or questions or things like that. So for those who may not know, I have three kind of brands in the soccer industry that I am working on from an entrepreneurial perspective. I have Fan Futsal, which is a simplified fantasy soccer website that I've been working on for, at this point, I came up with the idea 4.5 years ago or so, and really have been working on it full time for the last 1.5 years and have just been trying to grow that. I also have a YouTube channel called The Soccer Tavern, where I'm making videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. And finally, I do a weekly podcast with my brothers called Bros Talking Soccer. And, we're all big soccer fans. We talk about kind of the stories that are going on in the soccer world. We don't get into detailed, analysis of tactics or statistics or things like that. We're more talking just generally about some of the topics all around the world. So those are the three things that I have going on. So for those that have watched previous videos, you know that I've been trying this new growth tactic on Twitter where I follow people that follow either similar accounts or accounts that I think produce content that, I think their followers would like. So I've been doing it for Bros Talking Soccer, the podcast, and for the Soccer Tavern on YouTube channel. It's been fairly effective at getting followers. For whatever reason, it seems like the Bros Talking Soccer account is getting more followers than the Soccer Tavern. So the Bros Talking Soccer will pick up anywhere from 10 to 20, and the Soccer Tavern seems to pick up anywhere from 5 to 15. I don't know if that's just because of the Soccer Tavern's more focused on YouTube, if that's who I'm following, or if it's something else. But, I've just been noticing that trend. I've noticed obviously an increase in followers as a result of that. And so what you do, sorry, didn't really finish my thought there. So what you do as far as the Twitter strategy is you follow anywhere from 30 to 50 followers per day for, again, people that you think would like your account. And then if they don't follow you back within 2 to 3 days, or I think I give them 3 to 4 days, then you just unfollow them. And, it's a way to increase your followers, but also not make your people that you're following account go sort of out of whack. And, a lot of times it doesn't necessarily look great if you have, you're following 5,000 people and you only have 100 followers. So that's kind of the thought process there. I'm going to keep doing it throughout the month of April and see kind of where things stack up. Again, I've pretty much tripled my Bros Talking Soccer users or followers. They've gone from a little under 100 to right around 300 right now. And the Soccer Tavern has gone from about 70 to about 220, 230. So again, it's helped with increasing followers. Now, we haven't seen an exact translation to listens for the podcast and views for YouTube, or at least I'm not making the connection totally, but I can talk about that later. So from a fan futsal perspective, it was a great week. So we started an ad on the Total Soccer Show, which is a podcast I personally love and listen to. If any soccer fans out there, Daryl and Taylor from the Total Soccer Show do 5 weekly podcasts per week, and they're awesome. So I advertised on their show, and we picked up about 100 new signups for Fan Futsal, which is by far a record in about 1.5 days from that one ad. So that was pretty freaking cool. We ran a tournament for listeners of that show to sign up for a tournament, and the winner, I'm going to purchase a Total Soccer Show t-shirt for them. The constraint that we have with Fan Futsal is that our tournaments max out at 32 people. So we had 100 people sign up, but only 32 could get into the tournament. So I kind of felt bad about that. Obviously, it's a good problem to have. There's more demand for what you can offer. So next week, we're going to do a couple MLS tournaments instead of just one tournament for TSS listeners. And hopefully we can sort of capitalize and keep that momentum going with those people. John and Joe is my third-party development firm. They're fantastic. So I love them and the work that they do. But they're currently working on some updates for MLS tournaments. So I've talked about this in the past, but MLS has 23 teams this year. And because of that, there are some things going on with our data feed provider that powers the site that are throwing things off for our multi-week tournament specific for MLS. So John and Joe is working on correcting that. And, MLS, unfortunately, we're only going to be able to have weekend games, so Friday, Saturday, or Sunday involved in tournaments. But it's better than having tournaments get all kinds of wacky and going over multiple weekends and just creating confusion. So they're working on that. Hopefully that will be implemented by the end of this week and we can sort of move forward there. Also, the iOS. So if you go on to fanfutsal.com and you're on iOS and you try to log in, the cursor that you will see blinking on your screen is a little confusing. So if you click in the username, the cursor pops up down almost in the password section. And so it looks like you're entering your password, but really it's your username. And so we've had a couple signups have some confusion on that front, unfortunately. And so we're trying to fix that as soon as possible because we want to prevent that from happening in the future. The other thing John and Joe is working on is an SSL certification. So currently the site is not SSL certified, which means it's not, the highest level of security. Now we don't have any banking information, and the team that developed my site before the current developers assured me that we didn't need SSL certification with everything going on in the world with, from a security perspective. I want to be safe rather than sorry. And so we're working on getting SSL implemented into the site and getting that fixed. Because also when you go on to, I think, Firefox, and I know Chrome at the top says the site is not secure, and Firefox, I think, blocks users from going there. And so again, getting it SSL certified and getting everything protected will help on that front. And lastly, the last thing John and Joe's working on over this sort of sprint is allowing users to change their own username. Currently, users can't change their username, so they need to come to me for that. Talked about this in the past too. So for Fan Futsal, we were thinking of developing a game for the World Cup. It's unfortunately not going to work out. Just the timing of it and everything like that, it's just not going to, I don't want to feel rushed. And so we're just putting that on hold. We will develop some sort of tournament feature, whether it's for the Champions League or Europa League or for the Euros or Copa America or something like that. We will develop that at some point in the future. It's just not going to work out for this World Cup. Finally, on the Fan Futsal front, I have a guy who I talk to every week, kind of, we bounce ideas off each other, just, another entrepreneur. And so he had suggested that right now, as far as Fan Futsal is concerned, everything is completely free. And I've kept it that way. I've felt like I needed to, develop awesome content and get tons of users before I tried to explore a monetization strategy. And he's pushed me to just sort of consider some sort of monetization strategy. And it could be even more the Patreon sort of model where, and this is what I think I'm going to go with. I'm not going to be overly pushy and overly salesy. I'm going to try to figure out some way to just implement a system where if people like what I'm doing, they hear my story. I'm a solo founder who's got one, advisor who's not incredibly involved and a third-party development firm. I have an incredibly supportive wife, but really it's just me and, my wife, us funding a lot of this. We have no investors, we have nothing. And so if people care about our story and just want to just contribute, even if it's something like a couple dollars a month, I want to allow people to do that. Because right now I'm making the decision for them. I'm just assuming nobody would ever pay for what I'm doing. And, maybe that's unfair. And, if nobody signs up, that's fine. But if people do want to sign up and, contribute, I'd greatly appreciate that. But I just need to figure out what else I can offer them because I want to do something for the people that contribute. So whether it's, I don't know, access to additional content or something else. I need to figure that out, but I'm going to be exploring that over the coming weeks. Now, talking about the Soccer Tavern, the YouTube channel. So we released our Southampton and Stoke City videos this past week since I last spoke with you. We're releasing club history videos for all of the Premier League teams over a 10-week period. We're releasing 2 videos a week. So the Southampton has been by far my worst video, even worse than the Manchester United one. I'm not really sure why, because with the Manchester United one and some of the other big clubs, I found that big clubs have a ton of content and, there are other videos for people to go and find. And so I get it and I understand that those don't do well, but historically speaking, these smaller clubs, so my Burnley, my Huddersfield, and my Bournemouth videos are my three biggest, most successful videos I've done so far. And it's because there isn't quite as much content for them. And so I assumed Southampton would kind of fall more into that camp, but for whatever reason, it's lagged very far behind. So I'm not really sure why. Additionally, I got my first thumbs down on a YouTube video. I have about 200 likes, and this was my first one. So I'm trying not to let it bother me too much. But the one thing that sort of annoys me about the negative stuff is that there's no comment associated with it. So I don't know if it's just I did something wrong in the video, if it's just people don't like the way I look, did I say something wrong? Did I mispronounce something? Or were they just not a fan of Southampton and they just wanted to dislike the video? So that bothers me just a little bit, but I'm trying not to let it drive me crazy. On the other hand, my Stoke video has done fairly well, pretty much in line with a lot of my other, right around the average. It's, around 80 views or so. So it's approaching my normal views, at least for a video in the first couple days after releasing it. So, it's gone well. The only thing is I did wake up this morning to a video. So what I do when I send out my videos, I contact supporters clubs in the US, Canada, and Australia and New Zealand, and just send them the video. And, I think my video tends to do better, or it's more interesting for people that maybe aren't lifelong fans of the club, who already know everything about the club. My videos are more for people that are newer to the club. Maybe they joined a fan club and want to learn more. And so I woke up this morning to a message from a fan club in Australia, and they had said, basically they posted the video on Facebook and then had to take it down shortly after because people couldn't stand that I was calling the sport soccer. And so it's just like, frustrating and disappointing that, I get it to an extent, but it's also like, well, can you just look past that and look at the actual content of the video? So again, that's frustrating, but again, not trying to get too down on that, because again, things are going well. For the Soccer Tavern, what's happening is on my down days, when I'm not releasing videos, I'm not putting out a ton of promotion. Previously, they would have, maybe 0 to 5 views and only a couple minutes watched. Now my videos are hovering around, 100 minutes watched and getting anywhere from 10 to 20 views on the low end of the spectrum. So when you have your graph, you're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys. But now my valleys aren't quite as low as they used to be. So that's been encouraging on that front. Regarding the next stuff I want to do with the Soccer Tavern, we're going to have national team videos for the World Cup. And I know I had said previously that I was trying to make videos and keep it along the schedule of releasing 2 videos a week, or at least releasing videos on Mondays and Thursdays. My Premier League runs out on April 19th, and so I wanted to keep that going. I think it's going to be too aggressive, and it's an arbitrary deadline that I'm trying to meet, where I'm trying to rush and trying to get things done before I go home for 3 weeks in May. And so what I've decided is that I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to make better videos and not try to rush to get things done just to meet these arbitrary deadlines. So I still am making a commitment to get all those videos out before the World Cup starts, but I'm just not going to try to meet that deadline that I've had of Monday and Thursday and releasing a ton of videos there. With the in addition to that, I'm also doing a bit of research on some just short kind of fun terminology related videos. So I've already researched nutmeg, cap, and pitch. They'll be coming out late April, early May, and they're going to be quicker, only 1.5 to 3 minutes, whereas my club history videos and a lot of my other videos are a bit longer. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun with those. Lastly, Bros Talking Soccer. So the podcast episode was good this week. I thought, we had done a good job. We brought more energy. We were fun right from the beginning, which again, I wanted to try to make that a commitment. After the previous week, we were pretty low energy and the podcast got better as we went along. So we started off better and kept that going this week, but listens were back down around the levels that they used to be. And so with picking up a ton of new Twitter followers, I had hoped that would translate to listeners, and not seeing it. And again, not exactly sure why, because we had a slight bump. Last week, we were up around the 50 to 60 listener range, and now we're back down around the 30 range. And so, again, I'm not exactly sure why that was. I did release it later on Sunday. I was running around for Easter and doing things, and so my post got out late on Sunday, and then on Monday, I had done all my posts on social media and everything like that. And so I don't know if that was the case, whereas previously we had recorded on Sunday morning and I had gotten out early on Sunday and was able to post it. So again, not exactly sure what the what the downturn in listeners was, but this week I'm going to try to get it out earlier on Sunday and see if that helps. Today we released a Brighton and Hove Club history video, so we're pulling the audio from Soccer Tavern videos and releasing them as special podcast episodes. So they've done, interesting, and listens are again right in line with our previous podcast, or our normal weekly podcast that we record on Sunday. But the Brighton one just came out, so I don't really know how that's doing so far. But that's it for another episode of this entrepreneur vlog. Again, if you have any comments, if you like this video, any feedback at all, I would love to hear from you. If you're enjoying this, if you like this sort of format, if you want me to try to ask questions and try to get, questions from listeners and address them in this video rather than just updating you on these 3 projects, let me know. Or if you have anything else, just suggestions, comments, thoughts, feedback, I would love to hear it. Again, Dave at FanFutsal. You can send me an email or just tweet at me at dknitz11, and or just leave a comment on the video, and I would love to address that. So with that, I hope you have a great week. I thank you for tuning in and watching yet again, and I will talk to you all next week. See you, everyone. Bye.